This video is all about area of parallelograms, triangles, trapezoids, and rhombi. As far as these videos go, it is up to you if you want to hit pause, copy down the problems, work your way through the problems, right? So let's take a look at some important formulas first. We have our parallelogram formula, where area equals base times height. You can also use that for the rectangles. For squares, you can use the same thing, or you can use side squared. Triangles are 1/2 base times height. Trapezoids are 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. So base 1 and base 2 are those two parallel sides in a trapezoid. For the rhombus, here you see that area equals 4 times the area of a triangle. And there's another one that we can actually use. And that one is area equals 1/2 d1 times d2. So the two diagonal measurements of a rhombus are what we can also use. Okay, so let's take a look at some problems. First couple problems that we have are triangles. So if we take a look at these, for these triangles, we can do the formula 1/2 base times height. All right. The important thing is there's 4 different numbers on this, and the ones that we're most interested in are the ones that form 90-degree angles with one another. So in this case, we want to use the 4 and we want to use the 8. So if we plug those in, we're going to do 1/2 times 8 times 4. Well, we know 8 times 4 is 32, so half of 32 would give us our 16. And since we're talking area, I'd like to say it's 16 units squared. All right. The other type of problem that you might come across is a problem like this, where we're going to incorporate trig, because we know we love trig so much. We have to figure out what h is before we can go ahead and find area. So to go from short side to long side, we're multiplying by the square root of 3. So therefore h is 4 times the square root of 3. And then we can go ahead and we can do our area formula as needed. So 1/2 base times height again. This one is just 1/2 times 4 root 3. I'd like to make this easy and pretty much just stick to multiplying the 1/2 times the 4 and leaving it in simplest radical form. So we know 4 times 4 is 16. Half of 16 is 8. So we're going to say 8 square root of 3 units squared. There's the answer there. Then we get into some word problems. For the word problems, the first one that we have is we're talking about finding the height of a trapezoid that has an area of 50 yards squared and bases of 8 yards and 12 yards. So now, for this problem, we can go ahead and we can draw a picture so that we can actually see what we're dealing with here. If we do that, right, this would be 8, this would be 12. This is a height that we don't know, and we know the area is 50 yards squared. The area formula for a trapezoid is 1/2 height times base 1 plus base 2. And then we can just plug in our information. We have 50, 1/2 times the height that we're still looking for, And then base 1 is 8, base 2 is 12. It's okay if you flip those around, right? 8 plus 12 is 20, and half of 20 is 10. So really what we have is 50 equals 10 times the height. And if you divide by 10, you get 5 for your height. And really what I should have in there is that it's 5 yards for the height. The next problem that we have is a rhombus. Now this rhombus has a 30 centimeter diagonal and an area of 600 centimeters squared. We want to find the perimeter of the rhombus. So let's take a look at our area formula first. So our area formula is 1/2 times d1 times d2. We know our area is 600. One of our diagonals is 30, and we don't know the other one. So half of 30 is 15, so we have 600 equals 15 times d. And then when we divide by 15, we get d equals 40. So we know the other diagonal is 40 centimeters. Now, we need to figure out what the perimeter is. So if I go in and I draw my rhombus, not a very good rhombus. Let's try that again. Here are my diagonals. Right? I want to focus on just one triangle of my rhombus. So I'm going to draw that a little bit bigger so we can see it. Right? Now, one of my diagonals is 30, so half of that is 15. The other diagonal is 40, and half of that is 20. So there's the makings of my triangle, really. And I'm looking for this piece, so that way I can find one side. So if we take 15 squared plus 20 squared, that's going to equal x squared. So this is 225 plus 400 equals x squared. 625 equals x squared, and when you take the square root, 25 equals x. Now the nice part is we know that a rhombus has 4 congruent sides. So if we take 25 and we just multiply it by 4, the perimeter for our rhombus is just 100 centimeters. So let's see what other trouble we can get into here. This next problem says to find an area, but if you notice, it's 2 different shapes put together. We have a trapezoid and we have a triangle. So we need to use both area formulas. And then we can add them together when we're done. So let's take a look at our triangle. We'll take a look at the bottom half here. So our area is going to be 1/2 4 times 20. 4 times 20 is 80. Half of 80 is 40. So our area for our triangle is 40. Our area formula for our trapezoid is 1/2 height base 1 plus base 2. So we have half of 3 times 12 plus 20. Right? 12 plus 20 is 32. So we have half of 3 times 32. Well, half of 32 is 16, and 16 times 3 is 48. So you get 48 for our trapezoid. And then we just take 40 plus 48, and we get 88 units squared. The next problem here, problem number 6, is to find the area of a rhombus with diagonals of lengths 12 feet and 16 feet. So we're going to go right into our 1/2 d1, d2 formula. and we take 1/2 of 12 times 16. So if we make this nice and easy, half of 12 is 6. So really it's 6 times 16. So therefore our area is 96 feet squared.